Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time we left off with Nazi defenses at a low ebb in the morning after, talking about, well, the morning after D-Day and the weakness, I should say, in the Nazi defenses. We're now on to a Pearl Harbor veteran turns up off France. June 7th, 1944. A battle wagon aids the landing parties. Flame and smoke gush from the muzzles of her 14-inch guns as the USS Nevada pours a hail of death on the Nazis' position along the Normandy beachheads. The Nevada was badly crippled in the Pearl Harbor disaster. She was later repaired and modernized. This photo is the first record of her return to action, and the stories coming from Normandy reveal that she played a vital role in the naval action which supported the invasion. Yeah, you can see the big 14-inch guns just blowing probably holes into the defenses of the Nazis. And yeah, it's one of those kind of inspiring stories to hear that, you know, the Japanese may have very much damaged the Normandy, but the Normandy was not going down without a fight. And the Americans patched her up, got her back out there, and she was still headstrong. It's kind of pretty cool. And it shows the power of the American ship building and ship repairing facilities. British and French troops on the beaches. June 7th, 1944. More Allied beachheads. On the evening of June 6th, heavy fighting in the vicinity of Caen demanded a continual flow of reinforcements. Above are British infantrymen wading ashore with their bicycles. Below, we see units of the French army returning to fight on the soil of France. This particular force, equipped with American tanks, is the 2nd French Armored Division under General Jacques Leclerc. I don't know if I said his name right, but Jacques Leclerc. But yeah, so bicycles, a lot of us think it's kind of goofy probably, but they are a decent way of moving troops pretty quickly, so they're going to equip them with these. And it makes sense. They can go on, depending on the type of bike wheel and things like that, they can go on most terrain, so they're not a terrible idea. And yeah, the French are obviously probably glad to be home, and they're going to fight and take their home back, which to them is probably more important than anything else. These mines failed Rommel. June 7th, 1944. Failed to check the Allied advance. When the Canadians leaped ashore on the beaches of France on D-Day, they drove the enemy so hard and fast, and the engineers worked so efficiently that these German mines, left behind to hinder the Allied advance, failed to explode and lie harmlessly on the beach. A soldier is removing the detonator from one of these weapons of death, a tricky operation which required considerable training. Now we can see the soldier removing it. And yeah, obviously there were a bunch of these mines placed all over the beaches. There were small pits, everything. Every kind of defensible terrain that they could give, the Nazis threw at this beach so that they could try to hold it. But it just never, some of it didn't stick, some of it was faulty. You know, with any equipment, you're going to have that. And so they have, like they said, all these mines right here, and they're just all faulty. They didn't go off. Not very good defenses if they don't go off. Thrilling rescue in the English Channel. June 7th, 1944. Disaster averted. Survivors of a sunk LCVP, landing craft vehicle personnel, off the coast of France come safely ashore in a rubber life raft, unhurt except for a very heavy and salty duckling. Below, clutching a carton of his favorite cigarettes in his good hand, a wounded U.S. Army paratrooper is helped aboard an LCVP by medical men, bound for a hospital ship in England. These scenes were common during the amphibious operation on the Normandy coast. Yeah, so this is obviously the time of heavy smoking. So that guy He's got his favorite carton of cigarettes right there, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna get fixed up, but I need me a smoke first." It's kind of funny when you look at these pictures like that. At sea and at a bomber base, June 7th, 1944. Invasion sidelights. In the picture at the right, Lieutenant General Omar N. Bradley, commanding American ground forces, climbs a Jacob's ladder from a launched warship to confer with General Montgomery during the invasion. Note how Army censor eradicated General Bradley's shoulder patch. So, if it's right there, it's just completely hidden. In the picture below, pilots of the 8th Air Force are questioned at a flight bomber base in England after their return from France, where they supplied the air umbrella for the invasion landings. Yeah, so you can see the pilots, and I'm guessing these are their basically commanding officers. Got his pipe. But yeah, air power, sea power, and land power all go against D-Day, and this is why, it's not all why, but it is one of the reasons that it is the largest amphibious invasion. They just throw so much at this because in their minds, they have to do this. They have to get on those beaches. So they throw everything they possibly can at it. Man, it sticks. Reinforcing the beachheads in Normandy. June 8th, 1944. Bound for new adventure. United States soldier crowd into every inch of space aboard this LCT, which made continuous runs from transports to the Allied beachhead on Normandy coast. Below, hitting the beach along with Army troops, member of a U.S. Navy beachhead battalion dig their foxholes for their first night ashore on a Normandy beachhead. So yeah, after the main invasion force has happened, After the main invasion force has happened, they get as many men onto the beaches to help ensure that there are more men on there. And then, yeah, they'll dig foxholes, things like that, just to make sure that they actually have a defensible position if they get pushed back to these beaches. High and dry on a Normandy beachhead. June 8th, 1944. Land-based LSTs in Normandy. Left high and dry on a beachhead in Normandy by the receding tide, these Navy LSTs, landing ship tanks, find their anchors temporarily useless, but the unloading of men and material for the Great Assault continued. Yeah, so you can see them. These things are huge. And yeah, they're dropping off men, supplies, and yeah, they've been basically beached, but it's just for a short time, more or less, so they can get all their supplies and men off, and then they can get pulled back in or pushed back off, or when the tide comes back a little bit. Yeah, crazy amount of... Think about all the supplies, men, everything that can be held in one of these things, and that they're just probably more than just these two on this beachhead. The beachhead fighting takes its toll. June 8th, 1944. Death on a Normandy beachhead. While casualties were far lighter than pre-invasion estimates, the picture above gives evidence of the high cost of the landings in Normandy. Below, Americans rest in a milk house, which was part of a farm they had just cleared of German snipers. Note the eagerness of some to gain a few moments of rest while comrades were on the alert for a counterattack. But yeah, so here we can see, for YouTube, these are bags. Yep, these are all bags of rice, yes. But showing the high cost. And then in the bottom here, yeah, you can see some of these men are like, I'm napping for a few seconds. I need that rest. And yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys just go on, they're in continuous for about a day. And so they're like, we're tired. We need some sleep. Which, makes sense. The Quick and the Dead on the Normandy Field. June 9th, 1944. Coming up for revenge. American paratroopers move warily through a field near Carton, France, passing members of their own outfit who had fallen victim to Nazi snipers. While thousands of Allied troops were dropped behind enemy lines in this manner, our losses were very small in comparison with the goals achieved. The paratroopers proved invaluable in cutting the communications and preparing the way for forces storming the beaches. Yeah, so obviously, as we can see, victims of snipers. And yeah, while the numbers that were expected were a lot higher, that comes with a lot of these invasions. They always expect a lot higher, but it's so they can... It's better to be more or less over-prepared than under-prepared. So, like, if you're thinking, oh, well, we're only going to lose 10 men, and then you lose 100, well, that's a lot more, and that can look a lot worse than you saying, oh, well, we're expecting to lose about 100,000, and you only lose 10,000. It's still a lot, but it doesn't compare to the estimate that you gave. So it looks a lot better. It looks more successful, even if it's still a large loss of life, which is never good. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I could improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.